In the distant future, human civilization has expanded into the vast starry sea. Amidst this boundless cosmos, there exists a breathtaking artificial marvel, the interstellar space station Galactic Heart. The Galactic Heart space station is a masterpiece of the Federation government, floating silently in the planet's synchronous orbit. This colossal space station, with a diameter exceeding 1,000 kilometers, resembles a brilliant gem embedded in the pitch-black cosmos. Its outer shell, composed of high-strength alloys and advanced energy shields, reflects the starlight, rotating slowly like a giant pearl in the river of stars. The main body of the space station is a massive ring structure with an artificial gravity well at its center. Rotation generates simulated gravity, allowing residents and staff to live normally as on Earth. Around the ring structure, a series of modular compartments are arranged in a staggered pattern, like pearls encircling the main body. Each compartment has a unique function: residential, commercial, research, entertainment, all available. At the bottom of Galactic Heart is a massive docking port with dozens of docking ports neatly arranged like open mouths, ready to receive interstellar merchant ships from all directions. Beyond the port, a busy shipyard area bustles with countless repair robots and workers providing necessary maintenance and supplies for arriving and departing merchant ships. At this moment, one after another, various Federation government interstellar merchant ships are slowly queuing up, submitting applications to enter the massive space station. Some resemble elegant swans, their streamlined hulls gleaming under the starlight. Others are like solid fortresses with thick armor and massive bulk, exuding an inviolable dignity. Each merchant ship carries cargo and passengers from different planets. Their arrival brings a continuous stream of vitality and prosperity to Galactic Heart. In this busy interstellar port, the Federation government's merchant ships queue in an orderly fashion, waiting to enter the space station. They advance slowly along the predetermined course, maintaining a safe distance between ships to avoid collisions. At the forefront of the fleet, an ornately decorated flagship bears the Federation government's emblem on its hull, emphasizing its supreme status. Following the flagship, one by one, the merchant ships enter the docking ports of Galactic Heart. They slowly approach the port and dock perfectly with the docking ports. With a dull click, the cabin door slowly opens and passengers and cargo begin to move in and out in an orderly manner, bringing new life to the space station. Inside the landing bay of the Galactic Heart space station, a colonel in Federation government general's uniform stands tall, his gaze piercing. 3 golden stars gleam on his shoulder insignia, proclaiming his rank and honor. He stands before a group of young soldiers who have just graduated from the military academy, their faces brimming with youthful vigor and anticipation for the future. The colonel's gaze sweeps over the young faces, his voice loud and powerful as he declares, "Soldiers, you have successfully graduated from the military academy. This is an important milestone in your lives. Today you will embark on a new journey and face new challenges." The young soldiers stand tall, listening attentively to the colonel's words. The colonel continues, "Your first assignment is to go to the space base on Mars. There, our base has encountered a small problem that requires your presence to help resolve." The colonel's tone conveys trust and expectation for the young soldiers. He continues, "Of course, I believe you will complete the task quickly. You will use your outstanding performance to write a brilliant chapter on your graduation certificates." The young soldiers' eyes shine with determination, ready to prove their abilities. The colonel continues to boost morale. "After completing the mission, you can freely choose to join the Federal Army, Federal Navy, Federal Marines, or serve as planetary security personnel." The colonel pauses, his tone turning serious. "Of course, you may choose not to serve in the military, but students sponsored by the military must serve for 5 years before they can retire. This is your duty and your honor." A surge of pride wells up in the young soldiers' hearts. They deeply understand their mission and responsibility. The colonel concludes, "Soldiers, the future of the Federation rests in your hands. I believe in you and the Federation believes in you. Set out and create your own glory." As the colonel's words fall, the young soldiers shout in unison, "Long live the Federation! Long live the Federation!" Their voices echo in the landing bay, full of strength and resolve. The young soldiers turn around, and before them appears a massive warship hundreds of meters long. Its enormous body emits a cold, sharp metallic luster under the space station's lights. This warship is named Steel Vanguard, a third-generation landing warship designed by the Federation government. Its very existence is a symbol of power. The captain is an experienced veteran, his face etched with the marks of time, but his eyes still sparkle with the same passion and determination familiar to the young soldiers. He steps forward proudly and introduces the warship to the young soldiers. "On behalf of the Steel Vanguard, I warmly welcome you, young warriors. This warship is the pride of our Federation. It can transport a fully armed regiment of armored troops or 2 regiments of high-mobility light infantry in a single trip. It is equipped with the most advanced weapon systems and defensive shields, making it the most reliable partner for missions." The captain pauses, his gaze sweeping over the young soldiers, then continues, "Today, you are very fortunate. To transport you warriors about to embark on a new journey, the military has specially dispatched this landing ship to carry the few hundred of you. You will depart from this space station and begin your interstellar journey. The young soldiers' eyes are filled with curiosity and excitement, staring at the steel giant, their hearts surging with the desire for the coming adventure. The captain smiles and continues to encourage them. During the journey to Mars, you will have the opportunity to observe the starry sky. The stars here are vastly different from those on Earth, more expansive, more mysterious. I'm sure you will love this beautiful scenery. It will make you feel the vastness of the universe and the smallness of. Within the control station of the Galactic Heart Space Station, thousands of personnel were busy at work, their eyes fixed intently on the screens before them as their fingers danced across the keyboards. AI-controlled drones weave between them, continuously collecting information from every corner of the station and consolidating it for the staff to process. Between workstations, the staff occasionally exchanged words, discussing their tasks and findings. Hey, look at this. The energy department just reported a minor power fluctuation, but it's stabilized now. Really? That's great. We certainly don't want any trouble at this time, another staff member replied, while continuing to check their station. Speaking of which, I heard a batch of newly graduated soldiers is leaving for Mars today. How exciting! A third staff member interjected, their eyes gleaming with anticipation for the younger generation. Indeed, I hope they make a difference on Mars, the first staff member replied with a smile. Just then, a clearance officer received a departure request from the Federation military's landing ship Steel Vanguard. He quickly checked the relevant information, confirmed everything was in order, and immediately approved the request. Steel Vanguard, this is Control Station. Your departure request is approved. Safe travels, the officer relayed through the communication system. Within the space station's massive docking bay, the captain of the Steel Vanguard received the departure clearance. He immediately reported to the ship's commander, "Sir, reporting. Steel Vanguard's propulsion system is nominal. Zero energy reserves are sufficient, power cells are fully charged, and supplies are in good condition. Requesting clearance for takeoff." The commander listened to the report, a satisfied smile spreading across his face. No matter how many times I hear this, it never fails to excite me. Crew, perform one final check of all systems aboard the Steel Vanguard. If everything is clear, well, depart as soon as the docking bay doors are fully open. Following the commander's orders, the crew began their final system checks. Once everything was ready, they waited in silence for the bay doors to open. The massive bay doors slowly parted and starlight began to pour in, illuminating the interior. Bathed in the celestial glow, the Steel Vanguard gleamed with a dazzling luster like a meticulously crafted work of art. With the bay doors fully open, the Steel Vanguard glided out slowly, its colossal form appearing especially magnificent under the starry light. The crew stood on the deck, gazing out at the brilliant starfield, their hearts filled with anticipation and excitement for the journey ahead. As the Steel Vanguard slowly emerged from the Galactic Heart Space Station's immense docking bay, the mighty warship began to reveal its true power. On both sides of the vessel, rows of small thrusters ignited, their flames blazing vividly against the void of space. These small thrusters, known as attitude control thrusters, were designed for delicate adjustments near the station. Though their flames were not as impressive as the main engines, their role was crucial. These flames gently propelled the Steel Vanguard's enormous bulk, easing it out of the station's berth with careful avoidance of surrounding vessels and structures. As the warship gradually distanced itself from the station, the small thrusters' flames grew brighter and more intense. They continuously adjusted the ship's orientation and speed, ensuring a smooth entry into the designated flight path. The captain of the Steel Vanguard sat in the command center, his eyes fixed sharply on the forward screens, his hands moving expertly across the control console. He addressed the entire ship through the intercom. "Attention, all crew, we are about to depart from the station. Please double-check your stations and ensure everything is ready." Following the captain's orders, the crew conducted their final checks. They meticulously inspected their systems and equipment, leaving no detail overlooked. Once the Steel Vanguard had fully cleared the station and entered the designated flight path, the captain gave another order: "Prepare to ignite the main engines. All departments, finalize your preparations." At the captain's command, the 8 massive main engines at the ship's rear began to power up. These engines were the Steel Vanguard's propulsion core, capable of generating immense thrust for interstellar travel. With a deep resonant roar, the 8 colossal main engines erupted with long streams of blue exhaust. These trails carved graceful arcs across space, illuminating the surrounding stars. Under this immense thrust, the Steel Vanguard began to accelerate. It surged along the established route, heading straight for its destination, Mars. As the warship gained speed, the surrounding starfield blurred into streaks of light. The crew stood by the viewports, watching the stars race past, their hearts pounding with excitement and anticipation. Inside the barracks, 4 young soldiers stood in their newly assigned cabin, curiously examining the space that would be their temporary home for the journey ahead. The cabin, though not spacious, was tidy and orderly, equipped with 4 bunks, lockers, and basic living amenities. Just then a few veteran soldiers entered the barracks, smirking at the rookies. One of them teased, "Newbies, you're lucky, for to a room. Back in our day, we had a dozen crammed into one cabin, barely room to turn around." Their words carried a hint of nostalgia and jest, but also conveyed friendliness and welcome to the newcomers. But the good news is, on the Steel Vanguard there are dedicated sports and training simulators for you all. Rest for now, and later we'll show you around. At that moment a young soldier named Jiang Yu looked pale and somewhat unwell. A veteran who noticed him asked with concern, "Hey kid, you look rough. You okay? There's a medical bay on board. Want to check it out?" Jiang Yu managed a faint smile, trying to stay composed despite his pallor. "Corporal, I'm fine, just a bit dizzy. It's been like this for a few days, we'll be okay after some rest. And my classmates are here. If anything happens, they'll go to the medical bay." Jiang Yu turned to look at the 2 classmates standing beside him, their faces etched with worry. These 2 were Jiang Yu's close friends from the military academy, having undergone rigorous training and studied together, and were now assigned to the Steel Vanguard alongside him. One of them, Li Feng, patted Jiang Yu on the shoulder. "Jiang Yu, if you're not feeling well, you have to tell us. Let's go to the medical bay together. Don't tough it out." The other classmate, Zhang Hao, nodded in agreement. "Yeah, Jiang Yu, your health matters. Only then can we complete our missions." "Thank you all, I'll be careful," Jiang Yu replied with a smile. Despite the dizziness, his heart was filled with strength and confidence. The corporal looked at Jiang Yu, Li Feng, and Zhang Hao, a hint of approval in his eyes. After a moment of thought, he nodded in agreement. "All right, you 3 will share a dormitory. Nurture your bond well. On the battlefield, you will be each other's strongest support." He paused briefly before continuing, "This brotherhood will be the faith that sustains you on the battlefield. I'm leaving now, I still need to arrange for others." The corporal turned to leave, but suddenly remembered something and turned back to add, "Oh, by the way, these are your identification tags. They contain all your information. If you lose them, immediately report to your squad leader to have them reissued to avoid any trouble." Jiang Yu took the identification tag and nodded earnestly, indicating he understood the corporal's reminder. "Thank you, Corporal. I understand." Li Feng and Zhang Hao also took their tags. They exchanged glances and then patted their chests in assurance. "Rest assured, Corporal, we won't lose them." Li Feng then asked with a mischievous smile, "So when can we eat? We were dragged into the space station by the instructor early this morning, and now our stomachs are growling with hunger." The corporal chuckled at Li Feng's words. "It should be soon. Since you're the first batch of recruits heading to the Mars base, the cooks are busy preparing a feast in the kitchen. It's a grand buffet, so just wait a little longer." Jiang Yu also showed a look of anticipation. "That's wonderful. I'm already looking forward to it. All right, get some rest. I have things to attend to." The corporal waved and left the dormitory. The 3 began to tidy their bunks and luggage, carefully storing their identification tags. Jiang Yu felt a bit dizzy, so he lay down on his bed and closed his eyes to rest. Meanwhile, Li Feng and Zhang Hao sat on the edge of their beds, whispering about the upcoming trip to Mars and their future in the military. Jiang Yu's heart pounded violently in his chest. He sat up from the bed and took a few deep breaths, trying to He looked around, confirming that he was still in the dormitory of the Steel Vanguard, the bunks, lockers, and the sleeping figures of his roommates. He breathed a sigh of relief, but the dream he had just experienced was still vividly imprinted in his mind. In the dream, he found himself in a shattered world. Floating around him were various planetary fragments spinning in the darkness of space, reflecting the light of distant stars. He could also see the wreckage of space battleships of all sizes. These once mighty steel behemoths were now only broken hulls, appearing especially desolate under the harsh sunlight. Just as Jiang Yu was curious about what had happened, a gigantic space station appeared before him. If the Galaxy Heart space station was a bowl, then this one was like a colossal cauldron. Its body was so vast that one could not see its edges. Various mechanical structures were moving slowly, as if the space station was undergoing self-repair. Jiang Yu was deeply captivated by this dream. He felt an inexplicable connection, as if the space station was transmitting some kind of message to him. He tried to approach, wanting to explore the secrets of the space station, but suddenly a blinding light pierced his eyes, forcing him to shut them. When the intense light faded, a completely different scene appeared before Jiang Yu. He found himself standing in the center of a vast command platform. The area was filled with high-tech equipment glowing faintly, with intricate wires and screens covering the entire space. The scale of this command platform center was beyond Jiang Yu's imagination. It was like a supermassive control room brimming with futuristic technology. Jiang Yu felt both excited and curious. He tiptoed toward these unknown devices. His fingers touched a smooth, flat panel, and suddenly a powerful suction force firmly attached his right hand to it. He tried to pull away, but the panel seemed to have an irresistible attraction. Then a special mechanical device extended from the nearby wall, swiftly and precisely locking onto his entire arm. The metal tentacles of the device tightly coiled around his arm, immobilizing him. Jiang Yu felt a surge of panic, uncertain of what would happen next. He tried to call for help, but his voice seemed to dissipate in the vast space. Anxiety began to set in, his heart raced, and sweat dripped from his forehead. However, at that moment, he noticed the panel began to flicker with light, and symbols and patterns appeared on it. He had never seen these symbols before, but they seemed to be conveying some kind of information. Jiang Yu tried to focus his mind, attempting to understand the meaning of these symbols. Suddenly, he felt a strange sensation flow through his body, as if some intelligence was connecting with his mind. His mind began to synchronize with the command platform system, and he could perceive the space station's operations and its purpose. Just then, the mechanical device suddenly released his arm, and the suction of the panel disappeared. Jiang Yu felt a sense of relief, and quickly stepped back several paces away from the mysterious panel. Jiang Yu heard a series of mechanical beeps coming from the central control system of the space station. He realized that he was not merely in a dream. He had been drawn into an emergency situation on a highly advanced alien technology space station. Jiang Yu was shocked. He realized that the space station was requesting him to make an important decision. He took a deep breath, and then responded firmly. Jiang Yu knew that he needed to take action to ensure the space station could resume operations as soon as possible. He began to think about how to organize resources, assign tasks, and make the most efficient use of the space station's existing capabilities. He paused for a moment, then continued. Amidst a series of grating metallic screeches, the shattered mechanical gates of the colossal No. 3 space station slowly slid open, as if an ancient being weathered by time was recounting its past glories and sufferings. The metal surface of the gates was covered with scratches and dents, each mark bearing witness to the impacts and erosion it had endured over the years. As the gates opened, discordant clangs of damaged metal components could be heard struggling to move, revealing a glimpse of the space station's interior. Dust and debris were stirred up in the moment of opening, drifting through the air, adding a solemn and tragic air to the motion. Jiang Yu stood before the central control console of the space station, his gaze fixed intently on the unmanned spacecraft that had flown out to execute their missions. These spacecraft, roughly a dozen meters long and several meters wide, boasted a compact and practical design equipped with several folded mechanical arms that could unfold when necessary for delicate operations or heavy lifting. As the unmanned spacecraft sequentially emerged from the space station, passed through the gates, and entered the cosmic void, Jiang Yu's eyes involuntarily swept over the massive metallic body of the No. 3 space station. He saw a scene of severe damage, enormous metal plates twisted and deformed, some areas with armor nearly stripped away, revealing the internal structure and pipelines. Certain sections had been struck by scorching weapon fire, leaving traces of metal that had melted and resolidified like black blossoms in full bloom, narrating the fierce battles that had occurred. In some areas of the space station, large chunks of metal had been violently torn apart, exposing internal machinery rooms and corridors now open to the frigid cosmos, their interiors devastated beyond recognition. The windows of some cabins were shattered, leaving only jagged edges, as if silently recounting the disasters that had unfolded. The entire surface of the space station was dotted with traces of emergency repairs, rough and conspicuous patches, and temporary welds, evidence of the inhabitants' struggle for survival. These makeshift repairs stood in stark contrast to the originally smooth and polished metal surface, highlighting the space station's indomitable will to keep operating despite severe damage. Jiang Yu shifted his gaze from the control console screen and looked out through the space station's observation window into the distance. Although to him the unmanned engineering spacecraft seemed to have only flown a short distance, the data on the console indicated they had already sped dozens of kilometers away, commencing their recovery missions. He turned his attention back to the console, which displayed real-time footage transmitted by the unmanned engineering spacecraft, allowing him to clearly observe their operations. The unmanned engineering spacecraft slowly approached the wreckage of cosmic warships shattered in space battles. These wreckage fragments drifted silently in space, their metallic shells glinting coldly under the starlight, as if silent witnesses to the war. As the engineering spacecraft drew near, they extended their massive mechanical arms. These arms, ingeniously designed and robust, firmly grasped the broken spacecraft like a craftsman carefully inspecting his work. Then the laser cutting tools on the mechanical arms began to operate. These tools, precise and efficient, emitted laser beams that traced dazzling arcs across the void, swiftly and accurately cutting through the metal hulls of the warships. Sparks scattered in all directions during the cutting process, creating a splendid dance of light. The severed metal plates and components were carefully lifted by the mechanical arms and loaded into the engineering spacecraft's large storage compartments. These storage compartments, like the spacecraft's belly, had enormous capacity to accommodate various recovered materials. As the recovery work progressed, the spacecraft's belly gradually filled up. Carrying these precious materials, they began to slowly return to the space station. Jiang Yu knew that these recovered materials would be used for the station's repairs, helping it restore its former glory. Jiang Yu slept soundly in the dormitory bed, his body gently swaying as Li Feng shook him, yet he showed no signs of waking. Li Feng frowned, continuing to call out, "Hey! Hey! Jiang Yu, stop sleeping, get up and eat. The canteen's serving a feast." Li Feng's voice echoed in the dormitory, but Jiang Yu seemed trapped in a deep dream, unable to be roused. Anxiety crept onto Li Feng's face, and he began to worry about Jiang Yu's condition. Zhang Hao, watching Li Feng's anxious demeanor, also felt a pang of concern. He walked to the bedside, carefully observing Jiang Yu's complexion and breathing, then said to Li Feng, "Do you think Jiang Yu is sick? Why hasn't he woken up yet? And back at the military academy, he was never like this." Zhang Hao's words deepened Li Feng's worry. He stopped shaking and thought seriously. Yet Jiang Yu has never been like this before. He's always been healthy and full of energy. But now he's sleeping so deeply. It's really abnormal. Li Feng suggested, "I think we should go find the squad leader and tell him about Jiang Yu's situation. Maybe the squad leader can get a doctor to check on him." Zhang Hao nodded in agreement. "Good idea. We can't let Jiang Yu keep sleeping like this. He might really need a doctor's help." Suddenly Jiang Yu's eyes snapped open, his voice loud and vigorous. "All right, stop shaking me. You'll rattle me apart. The canteen's serving a feast. Let's go right now to eat." His words were filled with jest and excitement, a stark contrast to his earlier deep sleep. Li Feng and Zhang Hao were startled by Jiang Yu's sudden resurrection. They exchanged glances, their eyes filled with surprise and confusion, and spoke in unison, "Weren't you just half dead a moment ago? How are you fine now? A medical miracle." Their expressions were exaggerated, their tone dripping with mockery. Jiang Yu sat up on the bed, rolled his eyes at them, and put on a disdainful air. "Humph, little ol me. I've always been this strong. The indestructible little cannon, that's my nickname. Enough nonsense, let's go. If we're late, those guys won't leave even a scrap for us." With that, he leaped off the bed, quick and agile, as if completely unaffected by his earlier slumber. Jiang Yu moved so fast that before Li Feng and Zhang Hao could react, they saw him dash out of the dormitory like a gust of wind. They froze for a moment, then burst into laughter, quickly chasing after him. "Jiang Yu, wait for us!" Li Feng shouted, running and laughing. Zhang Hao, not to be outdone, teased as he ran. "Jiang Yu, are you entering a 100-meter sprint? Wait for us!" Jiang Yu ran ahead, hearing their shouts, and turned back to make a funny face. "You two slowpokes, if you don't hurry up, you'll really miss out on the feast." The three chased each other down the corridor, their laughter and shouts echoing through the space station's hallways. The other soldiers nearby were also infected by their joyful atmosphere, casting curious and friendly glances. Within the command room of the Steel Vanguard, a tense atmosphere permeated the air. The crew members' gazes were locked onto their own information panels, monitoring the data and information continuously transmitted from the ship's various systems with intense focus. Various indicator lights flickered, and the screens on the control console displayed complex charts and numerals, all updating the ship's status in real time. The captain stood at the center of the command platform, holding a latest report in hand, his brows furrowed in puzzlement. "Strange," he muttered to himself. "Why would the 367th route to Mars suddenly close with unstable factors emerging? It makes no sense." The captain knew that the federal government invested massive funds annually at major route nodes to maintain spatial jump facilities, ensuring the safety and stability of the routes. The sudden closure and instability of the route were extremely rare, which could indicate an emergency situation. "Navigator," the captain barked, "relocate the route and identify the problem. I need to know what's happening immediately." The navigator responded swiftly, hands flying across the console to recalculate and reposition the route. "Notify the other crew members," the captain continued. "They are to return to their stations immediately and prepare for emergency response." The crew in the command room sprang into action, each returning to their post and checking their systems, ready to handle any situation that might arise. Also, the captain added, "Inform the military academy cadets in the landing ship to return to their quarters immediately and put on protective gear." In the mess hall of the Steel Vanguard, a lively welcome party was in full swing. Crew members and newly arrived military academy cadets sat around beautifully decorated tables, enjoying the meticulously prepared cuisine. On the stage, some veteran crew members showcased their talents, some playing instruments, others dancing joyfully, earning rounds of enthusiastic applause and laughter. The festive lights in the mess hall flickered with a warm glow, creating a relaxed and cheerful atmosphere. Music echoed in the air, mingling with the chatter and laughter, forming a harmonious and joyful scene. However, at that moment, the broadcast system in the mess hall suddenly emitted a sharp sound, shattering all the previously cheerful music from the broadcast abruptly ceased, and the festive lights instantly transformed into a glaring red, accompanied by a piercing warning sound, a series of tense whoops echoing through the hall. This sudden change froze everyone in their tracks. The performers on stage stopped, conversations at the table ceased, and all eyes turned to the broadcast system issuing the alert. The experienced veteran crew members immediately grasped the seriousness of the situation. Without hesitation, they took action. One of them shouted, "All cadets return to your respective quarters immediately." Well, send personnel to deliver protective gear to you. Move out. His voice was firm and powerful, cutting through the tense atmosphere. The veteran crew members quickly jumped off the stage, organizing and guiding the cadets to leave the mess hall in an orderly manner. Their expressions were grave, their movements swift and methodical, displaying professional composure under emergency conditions. Zhang Yu, Zhang Hao, and Li Feng jogged back to their quarters, the atmosphere much more tense than it had been in the mess hall. Zhang Hao swallowed hard, a worried look on his face. Do you think we might be under attack? Landing ships have very little armament. If we run into an enemy cruiser or pirate ship, we'd be done for. Li Feng rolled his eyes at Zhang Hao, his expression relaxed, seemingly unimpressed by Zhang Hao's concern. Zhang Hao, we're on the Mars route, our absolute safe zone. Any enemy forces that could get here would make the Federal Navy hang themselves in shame. As for pirate ships, even less likely. There are several Federal cruiser squadrons in this area. How desperate would they have to be to come here and die? Zhang Yu patted Zhang Hao on the shoulder, calming him with a steady tone. Li Feng is right. It's probably, at worst, the navigator got lost again. But don't worry, a landing ship this big. If something really went wrong, the military would have already tracked us down. What are you afraid of? Relieved somewhat by their words, Zhang Hao still felt uneasy. Even so, the sudden route closure and warnings still make me uneasy. Li Feng grinned and patted Zhang Hao's back. Relax, Zhang Hao. On Federal routes, we're safer than anywhere else. Besides, don't forget we're trained military academy cadets. If something really happens, we won't just sit and... Zhang Yu added, exactly. We are future Federal soldiers. Facing difficulties and challenges is our... For now, we need to stay calm, be prepared, and trust that the captain and crew will handle everything. On the red planet Mars, human footprints were deeply etched. Within the base, massive buildings stood tall, serving as the federal government's industrial and research outposts. Around these structures, various industrial equipment emitted a continuous roar, showcasing the vibrant vitality of human civilization on this barren planet. Inside the factories, production lines were busy and orderly, constantly churning out materials and products. These goods were carefully packaged and sent to specially designed platforms. These platforms were enormous, assisted by ultra-heavy mechanical arms capable of carrying large quantities of cargo. When the cargo was placed on the platform and reached a certain weight, the motors at the base would activate. With a low hum, the platform began to rise, slowly moving along a predetermined track toward the sky. The ascent was smooth and gradual, like a sky elevator delivering goods to higher space. When the platform reached about 1 kilometer above the Martian surface, it would arrive at a special transfer station. Here, cosmic cargo ships were already waiting, hovering in midair like massive metal beasts ready to receive supplies from the Mars base. These cosmic cargo ships were the lifelines of interstellar trade, loading goods from Mars base and then traversing the cosmos to deliver these precious resources to other corners of the galaxy. Each cargo ship had a dedicated docking mechanism connecting with the platform to begin loading cargo in an... The space station orbiting Mars was a bustling transportation hub where hundreds of operators worked methodically on the control platform. They wore identical uniforms and communication headsets, their eyes fixed on the monitors and data panels before them. Through radio communications, these operators guided one cargo ship after another, carefully maneuvering them to the station's docking ports. Cargo ship Alpha 3, this is Mars Control Center. Please adjust your course to coordinates 017 and prepare for docking orbit. An operator issued the command calmly into the microphone. Received, Mars Control Center. Adjusting course, estimated arrival at docking orbit in 5 minutes. The pilot of the cargo ship responded. Through concise and clear dialogue, the operators ensured the smooth ingress and egress of every vessel. They collaborated with one another, guaranteeing the station's operational efficiency and safety. Yet amid the normal routine, an operator monitoring the flight path glanced at the schedule and suddenly furrowed his brow. He noticed that a military landing ship, the Steel Vanguard, should have arrived half an hour ago, but there was no sign of it. The operator immediately contacted his supervisor. Supervisor, a military landing ship has gone missing on the Mars flight path. We have received no signal from it nor any record of its arrival. The supervisor responded swiftly. Contact the staff at the orbital acceleration stations along the route immediately and inquire if there is any docking information about the Steel Vanguard. Simultaneously check our monitoring systems to confirm if any signals were missed. Yes, sir. They'll do it right away. The operator promptly set to work contacting the orbital acceleration stations and checking the monitoring systems. The cafe in the Mars space station was a place where captains relaxed and socialized. Here, a dozen or so captains sat together, enjoying a rare moment of leisure. One captain, looking to be in his early 30s with a resolute face, stirred his coffee and said with a self-deprecating tone, I thought joining the emergency rescue team would mean constant work, but we've been deployed fewer than 10 times all year. Every day it's just studying, training, and writing reports. So boring. Another captain, slightly older with a bushy beard, laughed and replied, Isn't peace a good thing? Or do you want to try your luck at the moon space station? Their rescue team wishes they could be out on missions from morning to night. Now you're here enjoying some downtime, and you're still not satisfied. Another captain slightly older with a bushy beard laughed and replied, "Isn't peace a good thing? Or do you want to try your luck at the moon space station?" Their rescue team wishes they could be out on missions from morning to night. Now you're here enjoying some downtime, and you're still not. The other captains nodded in agreement, sipping their coffee and exchanging experiences and insights in a relaxed. Yet in the midst of this pleasant exchange, the emergency assembly alarm suddenly blared. Rarely heard, its piercing shriek now filled the air, and red warning lights began to flash urgently. All the captains sprang from their seats, their expressions shifting from ease to gravity, their movements swift and orderly. They discarded their coffee cups, grabbed their helmets, and without a moment's hesitation rushed out of the cafe. At the emergency assembly point, the captains quickly donned their gear, checked their communication devices, and prepared to receive their orders. The space station commander briefed them rapidly. "We have received a report that the Steel Vanguard landing ship has gone missing on the Mars flight path. We must depart immediately for search and rescue. All teams board your ships now and prepare for launch." The captains immediately moved into action, boarding their rescue vessels, starting the engines, and preparing for. At the commander's order, one rescue ship after another lifted off from the Mars space station, heading toward the Steel Vanguard's last known position. Inside the command room of the Steel Vanguard, the atmosphere was exceptionally tense. The captain faced the situation with a mix of frustration and anger. He pointed at the star chart and said sternly to the ship's master and the other crew, "Did none of you notice that our position and course were not recalibrated upon departure? Navigator, did you not see where we are now on Mars? Or whether we are even still on the way to Mars?" His voice echoed through the room, every word tinged with disappointment and reproach. He continued, "We are a landing ship, not a cruiser, and certainly not the Federation's flagship. If we come under attack by space pirates, do you expect me to command a vessel with an incomplete crew, plus a few hundred fresh graduates from the military academy, into battle? This is a serious blunder." The captain took a deep breath, his gaze hardening. "Do you realize that these hundreds of recruits may become elite officers of the Federation in the future, and some might even become generals? Now, because of your mistake, you have led them into an unknown place." The ship's master and the other crew members lowered their heads, acknowledging their error, guilt etched on their faces. The master stepped forward and said solemnly, "Captain, this was indeed our oversight. We are willing to take full responsibility. The most important thing now is to determine our position and bring the ship safely back to the course." The navigator also responded hurriedly, "Captain, I will immediately re-establish our position and check the course data. We will find the correct route as soon as possible and lead everyone back to Mars." The captain nodded, knowing that this was not the time for blame, but for solving the problem. He turned to the entire crew and said with firm resolve, "All right, everyone, stay calm. We will solve this together. Navigation team, recalculate our position and plot a new course immediately. Communications team, try to establish contact with Mars base or the stations along the route and report our situation. All other personnel, prepare for contingencies and ensure the safety of the ship and everyone aboard." Among the dozen rescue ships dispatched urgently from the Mars space station, the captains were analyzing the situation with intense focus. Their gazes darted between star charts and various monitoring devices, attempting to pinpoint the possible location of the Steel Vanguard. A seasoned captain named Carson, gazing at the star chart, broke the silence. "Everyone, the orbital station ahead has sent word that they have not received the Steel Vanguard. It seems they must have lost their way along the course. We cannot search blindly across such a vast expanse of space. We need a plan." Another captain, a young woman named Ava, offered her insight. "Captain Carson, could we utilize the latest course monitoring data to trace the Steel Vanguard's possible route? Perhaps we can find the point where they deviated from their intended path." A third captain, a lean middle-aged man named Max, added, "At the same time, we should consider all possible emergency routes and safe havens. If the Steel Vanguard's navigation system malfunctioned, they might have chosen these routes to save themselves." Captain Carson nodded in agreement. "Captain Ava and Captain Max have excellent suggestions. We will split up. Some ships will search along probable courses while others check emergency routes and safe. Meanwhile, maintain communication with Mars base and update the search progress." Captain Ava quickly responded, "I agree. We also need to consider areas with frequent pirate activity in case the Steel Vanguard has met with misfortune." Captain Max quickly issued his orders, then it settled. "He'll lead 3 ships to inspect the pirate activity zones. Captain Carson, you handle the course backtracking. Captain Ava, you lead the remaining ships to search the emergency routes." Inside the navigation room of the Steel Vanguard, the tension was almost palpable. The navigators stared intently at their screens, which displayed complex star chart data and sensor feedback. A young navigator, sweat already beading on his forehead, said anxiously, "I've just consulted the radar team. They've scanned all nearby star belts, but none match the star charts in our database." Another experienced navigator, fingers dancing across the control console, tried to locate the problem. Not matching is one thing. EY can't even find the star chart node we just jumped to. Something seems to be interfering with us. Do you have any other ideas? He turned to his colleagues seeking a solution. If we restart the backup system, now how long would it take? A system maintenance navigator quickly replied. Restarting the backup system takes about 15 minutes, but we need to ensure all data is synchronized correctly, or we might lose our current position information. At that moment, the captain entered the navigation room. After listening to the navigator's discussion, he swiftly issued orders. Begin data synchronization immediately and prepare to restart the backup system. Also, I need you to check all possible sources of interference and find out why our star charts don't match. The captain turned to the communications officer. Communications officer, try to establish contact with Mars base or any Federation ship. We need external assistance to determine our position. The communications officer immediately carried out the order. Yes, Captain. He'll try all channels to find a signal we can connect with. The captain then addressed the navigation team leader. Navigation team leader, organize a team to manually inspect all navigation equipment. We cannot rely on systems that may be compromised. The navigation team leader quickly took action. Understood, Captain. Well, commence manual inspection immediately. In the distant asteroid belt, a dozen small ships darted among the asteroids like phantoms, fast and agile, using the complex terrain of the belt for cover as they silently approached their target. These ships belonged to a group of space pirates who exploited the unique environment of this planetary interference belt to ambush unfortunate vessels that strayed too close. Here, the dense cluster of planets and their mutual gravitational interference rendered conventional navigation systems useless, providing the pirates with perfect ambush opportunities. A pirate captain named Glock, his voice crackling through the communicator, brimmed with greed and excitement. Another big fish coming our way today. I've said it before. On this course, there will always be arrogant fools who skip star chart verification out of pride and jump straight into the planetary interference belt. Here, no star chart navigation can save them. Another pirate captain, a cunning woman named Callista, spoke with a hint of mockery. Glock, don't get too cocky. Don't forget we nearly got caught by the Federation patrol last time. We must be careful this time. Don't let the pride. A third pirate captain, a burly man named Crone, growled in a rough voice. Callista, rest assured. We're well prepared this time, and judging by the size of that ship, it's definitely a fat catch. Once we take it, we'll have enough funds to enjoy ourselves for a long time. The pirates communicated through hidden channels, their ships maneuvering swiftly through the asteroid belt, silent as a pack of wolves closing in on their prey. Inside the navigation room of the Steel Vanguard, the crew worked with tense efficiency, completely unaware that they had been targeted by the distant pirate fleet. They were focused on resolving the imminent navigation crisis, trying to find a way back to a safe course. A navigator holding a thick stack of paper star charts said, I've opened the backup star charts. They're old versions, but at least they can give us some basic guidance. Another senior navigator, brow furrowed, was cross-referencing the charts with manual navigation data. We need to manually verify the position of every star. This will take time, but we have no other choice. We must ensure our course is correct. The young navigator worked the console, nervously, his voice tinged with uncertainty. Manual navigation to verify star charts. We've never practiced this in training. If the data is wrong, we might drift even further off course. The senior navigator responded calmly. I know it's not easy, but we are professional navigators. We must rely on our knowledge and experience to overcome this challenge. Now everyone concentrate and carefully verify every data point. The captain entered the navigation room, saw the crew busily working, and encouraged them. Well done, crew. I know it's difficult, but I trust in your abilities. As long as we work together, no obstacle is insurmountable. The captain turned to the communications officer. Communications officer, try using the backup communication equipment to see if we can reach Mars base or other ships. We need external help to confirm our position. The communications officer quickly replied, Yes, Captain. I'll activate the backup communication system immediately and attempt to establish contact. Aboard the Steel Vanguard, the navigators were busily revising the star charts, seeking a way out. Suddenly, an urgent report from the radar team shattered the focused atmosphere in the pilot room. The radar team members stared intently at their monitoring screens, only to discover that the radar had detected an anomalous reaction source within the asteroid belt. The signals flickered in and out, seemingly moving swiftly through the asteroid belt, evading radar tracking. Sound the alarm. Detected unidentified spacecraft. Preliminary suspicion indicates pirate vessels. The radar operators immediately reported loudly, their voices echoing through the ship, drawing everyone's attention. The captain responded swiftly, his voice firm and resolute. Steel Vanguard enters second-level combat readiness. All weapon systems fully activate. Set shield strength to second tier, activate auxiliary power systems, and charge weapons with full energy. The captain continued issuing orders. Radar team, continue scanning and marking targets. Weapon team, let those petty thieves witness the firepower of the Federation's third-generation landing ship. We may not be a cruiser, but we are not a morsel they can swallow. The captain turned to the drone team. Drone team, immediately notify the hangar to prepare for attack. Have them load anti-ship missiles ready to strike those reckless fools a devastating blow. As the captain's orders echoed through the steel Vanguard, the entire ship's atmosphere instantly tensed up. The once calm white corridor lights began to flash with warning red, guiding the crew to their respective battles. The crew members, already clad in protective armor, swiftly and orderly ran through the corridors. The sound of their footsteps mingled with the clanking of armor, forming a unique prelude to battle. These crew members were meticulously selected and trained, knowing their duties and roles in the upcoming fight. One by one, drones were released like machines granted life, rapidly flying to various parts of the ship. These drones came in various designs, some for repairs, some for monitoring, and others equipped with weapon systems ready to provide support in combat. The Steel Vanguard was a massive space landing ship. Its colossal size and complex systems, meaning a crew of fewer than 200 was far from sufficient. Thus, highly automated systems and the assistance of numerous drones were crucial for the ship's operation. On the bridge, the captain observed all the activity, a satisfied expression on his face. He knew his crew and drone fleet were ready to face the impending challenge together. All stations report status. The captain commanded through the internal communication system. From every corner of the ship, responses came in. Weapon systems ready, ammunition loaded, ready to fire at any moment. The weapon controller's voice was steady and strong. Shield generators activated, currently operating at second-level intensity, capable of withstanding incoming attacks. The shield operator reported the shield status. Drone swarm deployed, executing auxiliary tasks, including monitoring, repair, and combat preparation. The drone control center replied swiftly and accurately. Navigation system attempting to reposition. We will find a way back to the main route as soon as possible. The navigation team worked diligently. The captain nodded, his heart filled with confidence. Excellent, everyone. Let us demonstrate the will and strength of the Federation. Show those pirates who dare challenge us that Federation crew members are invincible. Zhang Yu patted his protective armor, looking at Li Feng with a smile. Don't worry, the Steel Vanguard is a third-generation landing ship, standard Starfeather class. Length 686 meters, beam 320 meters, height 135 meters. Propulsion system 8 LR5 main thrusters. Auxiliary propulsion 16 LA5 side thrusters distributed on both sides of the hull. Shield system KQ5 full effect shield system. Power supplement system, recyclable light collection and conversion energy panels. Weapon system 6 twin-mounted 250mm railguns. Point defense system 24 AA3 1130 pulse electromagnetic cannons. Missile system 4 octuple YJ507 hypersonic strike missile launchers. Point defense missile system 8 32-barreled sharp arrow point defense missile launchers. For hangars capable of accommodating space fighters with a maximum capacity of 48 space fighters. Could carry a standard Federation armored regiment or 2 mobile units. With such a powerful Steel Vanguard, how can mere pirate ships hope to consume us? I truly cannot imagine it. No need to worry. Li Feng, upon hearing Zhang Yu's words, the worry on his face eased slightly. He knew Zhang Yu was right. The Steel Vanguard was a third-generation landing ship built to the highest standards, possessing formidable firepower and defensive capabilities. You're right, Zhang Yu. Li Feng adjusted his helmet and smiled. This Starfeather-class behemoth is indeed not something those pirates can easily handle. But we must not be complacent. In this vast starry expanse, any unexpected event could occur. Zhang Hao laughed heartily. Li Feng, you're still too cautious. The Steel Vanguard's thick armor layers. Even if its own main gun fired point-blank, it couldn't penetrate. Unless these pirates have anti-ship missiles specifically designed for large spacecraft, even if we stand still, their pitiful firepower wouldn't even be worthy of giving the Steel Vanguard a bath. Li Feng, hearing Zhang Hao's words, smiled slightly and replied, Zhang Hao, you're right. Our Steel Vanguard's armor is thick, and ordinary firepower indeed poses little threat. But as soldiers, we must not underestimate the enemy or any opponent. Pirates may lack the Federation's resources, but they are often cunning and unconventional. The pirates' ships stealthily approached through the starry void, initially believing the target was an ordinary large transport vessel easy to attack and plunder. However, as the distance shortened, they began to realize the Steel Vanguard was different from the ships they had encountered before. Boss, the size of this ship seems a bit off. A pirate observer frowned, reporting to the pirate leader. The pirate leader squinted carefully, observing the Steel Vanguard on the screen. Indeed, it's smaller than a large transport, but larger than a medium one. And look, its turning seems to be pointing its bow at us. Another pirate crew member interjected. Could it be a warship? A transport wouldn't have such a powerful radar system or maneuverability, would it? The pirate leader was silent for a moment, then slowly said, whatever it is, we have no turning back. But we need to be cautious. Perhaps we must adjust our plans. The pirates began to feel less confident. They had expected an easy raid, but now faced a potentially formidable unknown opponent. They knew that warships were typically equipped with powerful weapons and defense systems not easily dealt with. Within the weapon control room of the Steel Vanguard, the crew operated various consoles and monitors with a tense yet orderly demeanor. After the radar team confirmed the location of the pirate vessel, the weapon crew swiftly swung into action. A weapon control officer fixed his gaze on his screen, his fingers dancing rapidly across the console as he confirmed that the fire control radar had locked onto the target. He immediately reported to the captain, "Radar team, well done. We have the target locked. Captain, the main cannon is fully charged. Shall we open fire immediately?" The captain's voice came through the internal communication system, firm and resolute. "All weapon systems prepare, but do not fire hastily. Prepare to deploy the drone squadron to conduct further reconnaissance and await my orders." In the drone control center, the drone crew members were also busily engaged. They meticulously inspected every space drone in the drone bay, ensuring they were equipped with sufficient anti-ship missiles and projectiles. After completing the inspection, the drone squadron leader reported to the captain, "Drone squadron reporting. The first wave of 4 drones is combat-ready and can be launched at any moment. The cabin pressure is normal, and the drones are ready for orbital deployment." The captain swiftly issued the command, "Drone squadron, prepare for launch. Before opening fire, deploy the drones for reconnaissance to locate the pirate ship's weakness. Once an opportunity arises, launch an immediate attack." Following the captain's order, the drone bay doors slowly opened and 4 well-equipped drones gracefully emerged, entering the vast expanse of space. Following pre-programmed protocols, they silently approached the pirate ship's position, ready for reconnaissance and engagement. In the drone control room of the Steel Vanguard, the operators nervously monitored the real-time images and data transmitted back by the drones. They clearly saw the unknown vessels ahead, whose behavior and reactions struck the crew as anomalous. One of the control operators gripped the communicator, his voice steady and clear as he issued a warning to the unidentified ships. "Unknown vessels ahead, immediately identify yourselves and transmit your ship identification codes. We are the Steel Vanguard of the Federal Mars 3rd Landing Fleet. Immediately identify yourselves, shut down your engines, and cease any actions that may be misconstrued as hostile. Otherwise, we will consider this an act of aggression against the Federal Navy." He paused, then repeated the critical command, "Repeat. Immediately shut down your engines, leave the asteroid belt, and submit to our inspection." Meanwhile, in the weapon control room, the weapon operators had begun to slowly rotate the 6 twin-mounted 250mm railguns aboard the Steel Vanguard. These railguns, the ship's primary armament, existed to safeguard the vessel and its crew. As the operators worked, the railguns began to charge, their barrels flickering with a faint blue luminescence, a clear sign of the charging process. This action was not merely preparation for a potential battle, but also a demonstration of the Steel Vanguard's resolve and strength. Inside the pirate ship, a burst of arrogant laughter shattered the tense atmosphere. Facing the Steel Vanguard's warning, the pirates showed no fear, instead appearing even more reckless. "Haha, boss, do they really think we'll be intimidated by this bluff?" A pirate sneered, dismissing the Steel Vanguard's warning. The pirate leader sneered in response, "If we shut down our engines now, we'll be dead for sure. For what we've done, the Federation would have executed us 100 times over. Their ship is big, ours are small, but in the asteroid belt, speed and maneuverability are king. Brothers, charge with me. Use the complex terrain of the asteroid belt. They can't do a thing to us." Following the pirate leader's command, the engines of several pirate ships erupted with even brighter flames. Instead of complying with the Steel Vanguard's orders, they accelerated and plunged deep into the asteroid belt. Aboard the Steel Vanguard, the drone operators and weapon operators quickly reported the pirates' actions to the captain. "The pirates have ignored our warning and are accelerating into the asteroid belt." The drone operator "Captain, the railguns have locked onto the target. Shall we open fire?" The weapon operator awaited the captain's command echoed through the Steel Vanguard like thunder, his cold laugh revealing contempt for the pirates' actions and a grim resolve for the coming battle. "Want to race with our shells? Railguns, free fire. Blast them to hell. Drone squadron, control the outer orbit of the asteroid belt. If they dare come out, send them to the stars. Action." The captain's tone brooked no dissent. In an instant, the weapon operator's fingers pressed firmly on the fire button. The 6 twin-mounted 250mm electromagnetic railguns on the massive hull of the Steel Vanguard roared to life. In a series of electromagnetic acceleration sounds, the railguns propelled shells to tremendous speeds, each one screaming as it left the barrel. 12 shells streaked through space, blazing with blue light, like meteors crashing into the asteroid belt. The instant they struck the asteroids, the explosion's immense heat and shockwaves shattered them into countless fragments. The blue-white fireballs cast flickering light on nearby asteroids, and the flying debris formed a spectacular meteor shower in the orbit. Then came the second and third volleys, relentlessly hammering the asteroid belt. The Steel Vanguard's firepower swept across every possible hiding spot of the pirates like a violent storm. Each explosion lit up the starry sky like a lantern illuminating the surroundings. In the drone control room, the operators swiftly responded to the captain's command. They maneuvered the drones to patrol the outer orbit of the asteroid belt, keeping a vigilant watch on the pirates' movements. If the pirates dared to emerge, the drones would immediately attack and hurl them into the void. The pirate captain's hands gripped the ship's control yoke, sweat beading on his forehead. He had to contend not only with the unpredictable asteroids of the belt, but also with the relentless bombardment from the Steel Vanguard. Every near-miss asteroid made the ship tremble, and every shell explosion brought them closer to the shadow. How is this possible? How can their fire be so accurate? A pirate crew member cried out in terror as their ship was struck repeatedly by debris thrown up by the explosions, the hull groaning with each impact like the toll of a death knell. The pirate captain gritted his teeth. Don't just stand there. Keep dodging. They can't be this accurate forever. However, they were unaware that every move they made was under the Steel Vanguard's watch. For drones flew silently in the outer orbit of the asteroid belt, equipped with advanced sensors and communication devices, transmitting the pirates' position and movement trajectory back to the Steel Vanguard in real time. In the Steel Vanguard's control room, the drone operators analyzed the incoming data, intently working in close coordination with the weapon crew to ensure every shot landed near the pirates. Drone squadron reporting. Target position confirmed. Transmitting coordinates. The drone squadron leader informed the weapon crew. The weapon operators quickly adjusted the railgun's targeting system, fine-tuning it based on the coordinates transmitted by the drones to ensure precision. The captain watched the battlefield from the bridge, issuing orders calmly. Maintain accurate fire. Do not give them any chance to escape. Drone squadron, if they attempt to leave the asteroid belt, launch an immediate attack. Inside the landing pod of the Steel Vanguard, Jiang Yu and other cadets from the military academy assembled, their eyes fixed on the battle footage streaming live on the large screen. The escape pods were ready, serving as a lifeline for these precious military personnel, ensuring safe evacuation should any unforeseen incident occur. Gazing at the battle on the screen, Jiang Yu couldn't help but remark, "Look at that barrage. The Steel Vanguard's fire control is incredibly precise. The pirate ships don't stand a chance." Li Feng nodded in agreement. Indeed, our drone technology is also highly advanced. The coordinates and intelligence they provide make the bombardment even more accurate. The pirates are trapped this time. They can't escape. Zhang Hao focused on the tactical details. Look, the pirate ships are trying to use the complex terrain of the asteroid belt to evade, but the Steel Vanguard's artillery has already received the latest coordinates constantly transmitted by the drones. No matter how they dodge, they're still under our firepower. They can't get far. Jiang Yu added, the drones have given us full control of the battlefield intelligence. Unless the pirates can quickly break out of our artillery range or disable the drones and dive deeper into the asteroid belt, their fate is already sealed. It's just a matter of time. Lin Shan, a female cadet and the Academy's tactical analysis expert, offered her perspective, but we can't afford to be complacent. The pirate ships might resort to extreme strategies to escape. We need to be prepared for any contingency. Zhang Hao clenched his fists and said firmly, exactly, we're ready. No matter what tricks the pirates pull, we have the confidence, together with the Steel Vanguard, to wipe them all out. Amid the chaos of the asteroid belt, the pirate crew's nerves were stretched to the breaking point. They had to not only dodge the Steel Vanguard's artillery, but also constantly watch for the scattered meteoroids around them. These meteoroids themselves were potential lethal threats. A collision would be catastrophic. Suddenly, one pirate ship, in an emergency evasive maneuver against a massive meteoroid, had to pull up its position, attempting to skim past the edge of the rock. But in that instant, a blinding blue light cut through the dark void of space. A 250mm electromagnetic railgun shell, like the scythe of death, struck the vulnerable hull of the pirate ship with pinpoint accuracy. On other pirate ships, the crew witnessed this horrific scene. In terror, they saw their comrade ship engulfed by flames, and a flash reduced to a fireball within the asteroid belt. The force of the explosion tore the ship's components apart, scattering them onto the surrounding meteoroids. Metal fragments glimmered with a desolate light under the stars. No, this can't be. A pirate crew member screamed in panic, unable to believe his eyes. His hands gripped the console tightly, knuckles turning white from the strain. Another crew member, pale-faced and lips trembling, stammered, They were hit. Are we? The pirate captain's eyes also revealed unprecedented terror. He roared orders, quick, keep evading. Don't let them lock onto our position. We must survive. Yet under the threat of death, the pirate captain's heart was also filled with despair. He knew that against a formidable opponent like the Steel Vanguard, their odds of victory were almost zero. They had once thought they could use the complex terrain of the asteroid belt to escape, but now this once seemingly safe haven had become their grave. The captain of the Steel Vanguard stood in the command room, his voice transmitting through the ship's communication system. His confidence stemmed from a deep understanding of the warship's overwhelming firepower and tactical superiority, as well as an accurate assessment of the battlefield. The captain continued, "The pirates thought they could rely on the asteroid belt to evade our strikes, but they underestimated the true power of the Steel Vanguard. Without the support of long-range artillery platforms and firepower bases, their so-called defense is as fragile." A hint of contempt laced his words, but more so confidence in tactical execution. In this situation, the asteroid belt they chose not only fails to provide adequate cover, but instead becomes a cage restricting their movement. They've merely found themselves a decent burial ground. The captain turned to the weapons control group and issued new orders: maintain precision strikes. Don't give them any chance to catch their breath. Let the pirates understand the consequences of their misguided choices. In the landing pod, Jiang Yu and the other cadets heard the captain's words. Their eyes shone with recognition of the captain's command ability and a deep understanding of tactical theory. Jiang Yu took a deep breath and said to his companions, "The captain is right. The pirates underestimated us. They thought natural terrain could protect them, but they forgot the immense disparity in tonnage between warships. What we learned at the military academy is essentially the same. Small ships trying to take on large ones unless aided by exceptionally favorable terrain will almost certainly face death." Li Feng nodded in agreement. "We have advanced weapon systems, well-trained crew, and on top of that the pirate ships lack long-range strike capability and remote fire support. These factors combined give us an overwhelming advantage on the battlefield." Jiang Yu stood in the landing pod, his gaze calm and focused on the live broadcast. His tone was steady, revealing a clear assessment of the battlefield situation. Some pirates are about to scatter and flee. The battle will soon be over. The outcome is already clear. The moment he spoke, the cadets saw the pirate ships on the screen begin to disperse, trying to escape the battle. Under the relentless bombardment of the Steel Vanguard, these pirate ships had lost all ability to organize resistance, and now only sought to flee in any direction. However, the Steel Vanguard's artillery quickly responded, concentrating fire for a final strike on the fleeing pirate. In a dense volley, 2 pirate ships were hit, turning into fireballs in space, while the rest seized the opportunity to dive deep into the asteroid belt. The captain observed all this from the command room, and his voice came through the communication system again, calm and resolute: "Cease fire. They've run too far, no need to waste ammunition." With the captain's order, the Steel Vanguard's artillery gradually fell silent. The captain knew that although some pirate ships had escaped into the asteroid belt, they could no longer pose a threat to the Steel Vanguard. The control center of the Mars space station swiftly responded to Kassen's call, initiating the analysis and verification of the uploaded information source. Meanwhile, the captains of the other 2 rescue ships in Kassen's team also displayed a positive attitude, expressing their thoughts and suggestions through the communication system. Another captain quickly added. Listening to his companion's suggestions, Kassen made a swift decision. With Kassen's command, the 3 rescue ships adjusted their course and advanced rapidly toward Region 345. Their radar and sensor systems were fully activated, scanning for any possible signs in hopes of locating the missing Steel Vanguard. Inside the radar control room of the Steel Vanguard, the operators were nervously operating the equipment, ensuring their signals could propagate as far as possible. The crew knew that their position had deviated from the scheduled route, and due to the electromagnetic interference from the asteroid belt, the conventional navigation systems might not function properly. Therefore, they had to rely on other means to increase their chances of being discovered. Meanwhile, in the department responsible for controlling the power source, the crew was also considering how to maximize the use of limited energy. He continued. Standing in the command room, the captain took the report handed over by a crew member regarding the current situation of the ship and quickly glanced through it. His eyes revealed decisiveness and composure as he immediately issued a series of commands. The crew swiftly moved into action, executing the captain's orders. The propulsion team began adjusting the engines and shield systems, while the radar team started experimenting with new communication frequencies and methods to increase the likelihood of being detected by the rescue team. Other crew members stood by at their respective stations, while the recording officer began meticulously documenting all the critical events of the day. Aboard the rescue ships of Kassen's team, the communication system suddenly rang with a call from the Mars space. The staff member's voice carried clear excitement and urgency. Mars space station calling Captain Kassen. Confirm the message you received was sent by the Steel Vanguard. Please contact them immediately and transmit the latest star chart to them. After establishing a connection, bring them safely back to the station. Captain Kassen and his team felt a surge of excitement upon hearing the news. Captain Kassen's voice brimmed with excitement and confidence. Kassen rescue team received. When we get back to the station, you'll have to treat me to a feast. Brothers, let's go. Full speed ahead. Send a rescue team message to the Steel Vanguard, prepare to guide them home. With Captain Kassen's command, the rescue ships accelerated and advanced rapidly toward the position of the Steel Vanguard. At the same time, they began transmitting information to the Steel Vanguard via the communication system, informing them that they had been located and were ready to receive the latest star chart. Aboard the Steel Vanguard, the crew heard the call from Kasen's rescue team. The captain immediately instructed the communications officer to respond. "This is the Steel Vanguard. We have received your signal. Thank you for finding us. We are ready to receive the latest star chart. Please guide us home." The communications officer quickly input the frequency band and coordinate data from Kasen's rescue team into the navigation system and began adjusting the course according to the new star chart. Meanwhile, the captain announced the good news to the entire ship. "All crew, we have made contact with Kasen's rescue team from the Mars space station. They will guide us back safely. Please remain at your stations and prepare to follow the rescue team's instructions." The crew quickly moved into action, making final preparations according to the captain's orders. They checked their respective systems to ensure everything was ready, prepared to activate the main engines and begin the journey back to Mars. On the outskirts of the Mars space station, the starry sky was suddenly illuminated by a series of flickering flashes. The spatial jump unfolded like a magnificent light show as blue radiance traced rippling waves across the deep cosmos. One by one, rescue ships leaped out from the blue spatial passageways, their hulls enveloped in radiance at the moment of transit, as if they were emissaries crossing from another dimension. As the light faded, the rescue ships emerged one after another within view of the Mars space station, their hulls gleaming silver under the sunlight, like a flock of birds returning to their nest. Close behind, a colossal vessel, several times larger than the rescue ships, slowly materialized. It was the Steel Vanguard. Its arrival struck awe into everyone aboard the station as the immense landing ship appeared even more majestic and imposing amidst the glow of the spatial jump. The destroyers that had been patrolling around the station received notification of the Steel Vanguard's imminent arrival. They immediately adjusted their course and approached the Steel Vanguard. The crews of the destroyers knew they had to conduct identity verification on the personnel aboard the Steel Vanguard to ensure security. The destroyer captains contacted the Steel Vanguard via the communication system. "Steel Vanguard, this is the Mars Space Station patrol fleet. We are about to approach for identity verification. Please cooperate." The communication officer on the Steel Vanguard quickly responded, "Mars patrol fleet, this is the Steel Vanguard. We understand and will cooperate with your identity verification." Around the Mars space station, an atmosphere of tense yet orderly procedure prevailed. A lead destroyer slowly navigated to the side of the Steel Vanguard, and its communication system issued a clear directive. "Steel Vanguard, thank you for your cooperation. Now please shut down your engines and authorize our data terminal to access your digital library for personnel review. Rest assured we will not cause you any trouble, and we also ask that you refrain from any unusual actions. This is a regulation of the Federal Navy, as you are well aware. We too wish to avoid any unforeseen incidents." The lead destroyer captain's tone conveyed professionalism and seriousness. They had to ensure the safety of the station and all personnel, eliminating any potential risks. The floating weapon platforms around the Mars space station also began to move slowly, positioning themselves near the Steel Vanguard, providing additional security for this standard procedure inspection. Aboard the Steel Vanguard, the captain received the request from the lead destroyer. He responded with a smile, his expression showing understanding and respect for Federal Navy regulations. "Engine team, shut down the engines. Prepare to accept the data terminal link from the Mars patrol ship. No one is to refuse. All crew members must not conceal any personal identity information." The captain's voice echoed through the ship's internal communication system, ensuring every crew member heard his orders. He knew that following the rules was not only a protection for himself and the crew, but also a mark of respect for the crew. Swiftly responded to the captain's command. The engine team began gradually shutting down the engines while the information department prepared to receive the data terminal link from the Mars patrol ship. They opened the data interface, allowing the patrol ship to access the Steel Vanguard's database for the necessary personnel review. With the engines shut down, the Steel Vanguard hung silently in space, awaiting the completion of the review by the Mars patrol ship. The crew remained calm and professional, understanding that this was a necessary step to ensure everyone's safety. As communication progressed, the destroyer slowly approached the Steel Vanguard. Its crew began using various sensors and scanning devices to conduct a detailed inspection of the Steel Vanguard's hull and personnel. Once the lead destroyer's scanning and data verification process concluded, the Mars space station staff efficiently completed the confirmation of all data from the Steel Vanguard. They not only verified the crew members' identities, but also recorded and uploaded the cause of the navigation error in detail, ensuring the completeness and transparency of the information. During the tense and meticulous verification process, each crew member's information was rapidly cross-checked to ensure no security risks remained. This was a strict adherence to Federal Navy regulations and a demonstration of responsibility for the safety of all personnel. Finally, after confirming that all information was correct, the lead destroyer captain received a clear reply from the Mars space station personnel of the Steel Vanguard: "Have no issues. You may proceed. You can continue with your patrol mission. Thank you very much for your cooperation." This response, like a spring breeze melting frost, dispelled the tension and unease among the crew of the Steel Vanguard. The captain then announced the good news to the entire ship via the communication system. All crew the Mars space station has confirmed our identity. We are cleared to proceed. Everyone can begin preparations for docking at the station. Upon hearing the news, the crew burst into cheers. Zhang Yu and the other cadets from the military academy also felt an indescribable sense of relief and joy. They high-fived each other, sharing the excitement of ending their navigation error and returning. As the Steel Vanguard's hull gently approached the Mars space station, the crew received the docking instructions from the station's AI system. They responded promptly, immediately agreeing to the operation. Under the precise control of the AI system, the ship slowly and safely docked with the station. Guided by the AI system, the Steel Vanguard accurately aligned with the station's docking port. Simultaneously, the station's boarding hatch opened, extending a personnel transfer tube designed to safely move people between two sealed environments. The personnel transfer tube tightly connected to the Steel Vanguard's hatch. With a sound of released gas, the tube began to equalize air pressure. The crew patiently waited until the pressure reached a safe indicator point, ensuring a secure transition from the ship to the space station. Jiang Ye's eyes sparkled with curiosity and excitement, as he always harbored a desire to explore the unknown. While organizing his luggage, he said to Zhang Hao and Li Feng, "Aha, brothers, let's go. Let's go see what the Mars space station is really like. I've always been at the Academy, and I heard the Mars space station is a newly built one with many Martian specialties. Let's hurry up and check it out." Zhang Hao glanced at Jiang Yu, shook his head helplessly, and said, "What specialties are there on Mars? It's either mines or various natural resources. If it weren't for the discovery of the zero element on Mars, probably no one would come here. Purely for mining, even if we just mine the moon, it would be enough for centuries." Li Feng, with a mysterious smile, interjected, "Not necessarily. I heard from senior brothers at the Academy that an unknown civilization spacecraft was once discovered on Mars, and it was reportedly taken back to Beta Academy for comprehensive analysis. We don't know if there are any new technologies or achievements we can apply." Hearing this, Jiang Ye's eyes lit up. "Really? If an alien spacecraft was really discovered on Mars, that would be so cool. We have to go see it. Maybe we can even witness some major technological breakthroughs." Zhang Hao was also intrigued by this topic. He put down his luggage and asked curiously, "An alien spacecraft discovered on Mars? How come I haven't heard of this? If it's true, that's huge. We really should go to Beta Academy to check it out." Li Feng shrugged. "I heard it from others. I don't know the details. But since we're already at the Mars space station, we might as well investigate and see if we can find something interesting." The military academy cadets, including Zhang Yu, Zhang Hao, and Li Feng, excitedly tidied up their luggage, and they gathered in the landing capsule, buzzing with excitement about the upcoming Mars base tour. The crew of the Steel Vanguard looked down at these vibrant young cadets, their tone tinged with envy and resignation. An experienced crew member shook his head and said, "I really envy them getting to relax at the Mars base for a while. We old bones, once the Steel Vanguard is resupplied, will head straight to the front line." Another crew member chimed in, "I heard the natives of one planet aren't behaving. They violated the treaty with the Federation and attacked a European-American mining company. Those guys can't do anything right, they just cause trouble." A third crew member added, "They caused the mess, yet we have to. Seriously, don't they have their own fleet?" The crew's words revealed their dissatisfaction with the upcoming mission and their envy of the cadets' chance to rest. They knew that as soldiers they had to be ready to face challenges and missions at any time, while the cadets had the opportunity to experience a different life and learning at the Mars base. The captain stood by the porthole of the Steel Vanguard, his gaze piercing through the transparent glass, watching the spirited military academy cadets below. They carried their backpacks and, guided by the crew one by one, left the landing capsule ready to embark on their new journey at the Mars base. The first officer walked up to the captain, looking at his expression, and couldn't help teasing with a smile, "What's wrong? Don't tell me you're jealous of those young guns." "Not really. At your age, having such thoughts." The captain turned around and smiled in response to the first officer's words. "What's wrong? Who doesn't long for their youth? Now that I'm old, I have to run around all the time. I clearly applied to the fleet commander to let me return to Earth and become a teacher at the Naval Academy. Can't they let me retire early? Seriously." Hearing the captain's words, other crew members couldn't help but laugh. "Captain, just give up on that idea. The fleet commander entrusted you with the third-generation landing ship, which has only been in service for a short time. Don't you understand his intentions?" "Huh?" The captain shook his head and smiled helplessly. I know. The fleet commander has high expectations for me, hoping I can lead the Steel Vanguard to greater achievements. But occasionally thinking about retirement is only human." The first officer patted the captain on the shoulder and said, "Seriously, Captain, we all understand. But look at these young cadets. They still need your experience and guidance. Your leadership and wisdom are precious assets to all of us." The captain nodded, his gaze once again falling on the young cadets. "You're right. I still have responsibilities and a mission to fulfill. When the time is right, I'll enjoy retirement then." Jiang Yu and his companions carrying their backpacks passed through the landing capsule of the Steel Vanguard and entered the interior of the Mars space station. Their footsteps echoed on the metal corridors surrounded by a bustling and vibrant scene. The interior of the space station was spacious and bright with high arched ceilings adorned with soft lighting creating a warm and comfortable atmosphere. Various signs and display screens were mounted on the walls showing the layout of the space station and important information. They passed through the bustling commercial district where a dazzling array of shops and stalls caught their eyes. Voices hawking wares rose and fell in succession from vendors selling Martian specialties to restaurants offering interstellar cuisine, from high-tech equipment displays to stalls of traditional handicrafts. Everything was available. These sounds mixed with the noise of the crowd forming a unique market atmosphere. Jiang Yu and his companions were curious about these novel sights, their eyes wandering among the stalls amazed by the diversity and vitality of the Mars space station. However, when they saw the officer waiting to greet them ahead, they immediately realized that their Mars journey had only. The officer who greeted them wore a neat Federation military uniform, stood tall, and had a serious yet friendly smile. He saluted Jiang Yu and the others with a standard military gesture welcoming them. "Welcome to the Mars space station, cadets. I am here to guide you to the military base below. Please follow me." The officer's voice was clear and firm. Jiang Yu and his companions quickly composed themselves, returned the salute, and then followed the officer's steps through the commercial district toward the dedicated passage to the military base. Under the officer's guidance, they boarded an elevator and slowly descended to the Martian surface. As the altitude decreased, they felt the increasing gravity of Mars, and the scenery outside the window gradually changed from the space station's metal structure to the red Martian landscape. Jiang Yu and his companions followed the officer ahead through the tubular chamber leading to the Mars base. The transparent sections of the chamber allowed them a clear view of the magnificent Martian landscape outside. The crimson earth stretched beneath their feet, desolate, yet mysterious. The trainees saw engineering vehicles busily excavating the Martian surface, their massive mechanical arms rising and falling, moving soil and rocks aside. Intelligent robots worked methodically across the excavation sites according to preset programs, precise and efficient, showcasing the power of technology. The ground was dotted with pits dug by construction crews. Some pits had already begun building operations with towering construction machinery weaving through them, shaping the future of the Mars base. The trainees began chatting curiously as they walked. "Wow, look at those engineering vehicles. They're so efficient," one trainee exclaimed, pointing outside. "Yeah, and those intelligent robots. They seem capable of almost anything," another replied, admiration for technology shining in his eyes. "Look, that structure over there is already taking shape," Zhang Hao said, pointing at a building under construction. "Building a base like this on Mars is truly a great engineering feat. I heard these buildings use the latest materials and technologies to withstand the extreme Martian environment." Li Feng added, his voice revealing a thirst for the knowledge to come. Jiang Yu joined the discussion. "Indeed, everything here is different from what we learned at the academy. I can't wait to see what we can learn here." The officers exchanged smiles, their eyes betraying a hint of pride and anticipation. They knew the upcoming scene would leave a deep impression on the young trainees. They said nothing, merely leading the trainees onward until they approached an excavated hill. As the trainees' gazes crossed the hill's edge, they were stunned into dropping their jaws at the sight before them. They saw a massive pit at least several square kilometers in size, as if a huge chunk of the Martian surface. Even more astonishing was that within the pit lay an enormous spaceship, its sheer scale dwarfing anything. The ship's exterior was unlike any they had encountered. Its design sleek and advanced, its hull gleaming with metallic luster, like a blade piercing deep into the heart of Mars. The trainees could hardly believe their eyes. Some let out involuntary gasps. "Oh my God, do you see that? What is that?" One trainee stammered, his voice full of disbelief. "I've never seen a ship this big." Another trainee marveled, his gaze locked onto the ship. "Look at its design, the lines, the sheen. This must be the product of a highly advanced civilization." Zhang Hao analyzed, curiosity and excitement sparkling in his eyes. "I heard that alien spacecraft were once discovered on Mars. Could this be the one?" Li Feng speculated, a hint of awe in his voice. Jiang Yu was also deeply captivated by the ship. He took a deep breath, trying to calm his excitement. The appearance of this ship could rewrite our understanding of the universe. "We are fortunate to witness this historic moment firsthand." The officers looked at the trainees' stunned expressions, a surge of pride welling up inside them. They knew the discovery of this ship would have profound implications for the Federation and all of humanity. "Trainees, welcome to the wonder of Mars." An officer spoke, his voice filled with solemnity. "This ship is a major discovery we made on Mars. Its existence is full of unknowns and challenges for us. But at the same time, it offers an unprecedented learning opportunity." The officers' words brimmed with pride and honor. Standing before this magnificent discovery, they explained the significance of this historic moment to the trainees. Moreover, you are the first trainees to enter the excavation site. Another officer continued, barely containing his excitement. This is uniquely ours, the right to excavate it. We have made a clear application within the federal government. Others can only envy us. He looked around at the trainees, ensuring each felt the honor. The site is still being excavated, and the observation walkway hasn't been built yet, so you can't go over for a close look for now. But one thing I can tell you, the ground we stand on, including half our base, might be directly built on this enormous ship. The trainees let out low exclamations. They couldn't imagine that the land beneath their feet might be part of the ship. The officer paused, then continued, "We suspect this is not a ship at all, but a flying cosmic world." His eyes sparkled with curiosity about the unknown and reverence for the discovery. Jiang Yu and his companions were profoundly shaken by these words. They realized they were standing at a place that might change humanity's understanding of the cosmos. This was not just a ship. It could be a legacy of a civilization, a gateway to an unknown world. "This is utterly incredible," one trainee whispered, his voice filled with awe. "Just think, we might be standing on an entirely new world." Another added, his eyes shining with anticipation for the future. Zhang Hao, more pragmatic, considered, "If this really is a flying cosmic world, its technology and civilization level are far beyond our imagination. What we can learn from it will be priceless." Li Feng also expressed his excitement. "It will be the honor of our generation to witness and participate in the study of this great discovery." The officers looked at these enthusiastic young trainees, a warm feeling rising in their hearts. They knew these youths would be the witnesses and inheritors of this discovery, their futures full of boundless possibilities. "Trainees, what you see now is only the tip of the iceberg," the officer concluded, his voice carrying a solemn sense of mission. "As the excavation deepens, we will uncover more secrets, and you will have the opportunity to be part of this historic process." The officers spread their arms as if to embrace the entire miracle, their voices filled with excitement and pride. "Now you are the ones witnessing this miracle up close. Be proud, for you deserve it." Infected by the emotion, the trainees crowded near the transparent glass corridor. Some were so excited they nearly pressed their faces against the glass, eager to dive down and observe the colossal alien spacecraft up close. Their eyes sparkled with curiosity and longing, their hearts filled with infinite reverie about this unknown world. But as Jiang Yu caught sight of an emblem on one corner of the spaceship, a sudden intense headache struck him. Deep within his mind, some memory seemed to be awakened. That emblem, he had seen it somewhere before. In the Academy's archives, or perhaps in a dream. No, it was on the cosmic warship within his mind, the emblem of the so-called third giant space station, exactly the same as what he now beheld. A flood of questions surged in Jiang Ye's heart. How can there be another one on Mars? Is my memory connected to this spaceship? Or is there some unspeakable connection between this ship and the world I inhabit? He felt both perplexed and shocked, realizing that this might not be a mere coincidence. Meanwhile, the other trainees were still excitedly discussing the ship's structure and potential uses, completely oblivious to Jiang Ye's unusual state. Jiang Yu decided not to reveal his discovery to others for now. He needed more information and evidence to support his conjecture. As the excavation work deepened, Jiang Yu and the other trainees would have more opportunities to come into contact with the spaceship. Jiang Yu made a silent vow he would seize this chance to unravel the secrets of the spaceship, perhaps the most important discovery of his life. After the officers arranged for the trainees to return to their dormitories, the atmosphere remained excited and lively. Zhang Hao sat on his bunk, an irrepressible excitement written on his face. Li Feng's emotions had clearly not yet recovered from the spectacle he had just witnessed. His voice carried a hint of excitement. Li Feng's words made the other trainees in the dormitory begin to ponder the significance behind this transaction. They realized that the discovery of this spaceship might not only concern technology and knowledge, but also the nation's strategic interests and long-term development. Jiang Yu sat on his own bunk listening to his companions' discussions, but his mind was preoccupied with the emblem he had seen. He knew that the secrets hidden behind this spaceship might be far more complicated than they imagined. Inside the dormitory, the other trainees gathered around, still excitedly exchanging thoughts about the super spaceship they had just witnessed. Their conversation brimmed with curiosity and imagination. "What do you think it looks like inside that ship? Could there be remnants of alien life?" a trainee asked curiously, eyes sparkling with a thirst for the unknown. "I think it's more likely to be advanced technology and knowledge. Just imagine if we could master their technology, what a tremendous leap in our capabilities that would be," another trainee replied with longing. "But I'm more curious about how this ship came to Mars. Could its appearance be related to some secrets of Mars?" A trainee posed his question. "Perhaps this ship is a treasure trove containing endless resources and secrets waiting for us to discover," someone said with eager anticipation. Only Jiang Yu lay alone on his bed, his mind racing. The emblem on that spaceship was too familiar to him. He was certain he had seen the same symbol on the third space. He had originally thought it was just a dream, but when he realized he could communicate with the third space station, which was under repair through his will, he became aware that he might have truly obtained some special ability like the cheat described in novels. Jiang Yu thought to himself, this cannot be just a coincidence. I must find out the reason behind it. Does this mean I have some connection with this spaceship? Or can my ability help me uncover the secrets of the spaceship? He decided to keep silent and not reveal his discovery to others. He needed time to explore his ability, understand its limits and possible applications. Jiang Yu closed his eyes, trying to concentrate, feeling the subtle connection between himself and the third space station. He began to attempt communication with the space station through his mind, hoping to obtain some information about the space. Zhang Hao listened to the conversation, but he was still curious and said, "Everyone tell me, why would the military let us trainees know about this? In principle, we are only half soldiers, or many of us might not become soldiers in the future. Such a huge secret. Aren't they afraid we might leak it?" Zhang Hao's question caught the attention of the other trainees in the dormitory, and they began to ponder it, with discussions gradually rising. Li Feng, smiling, offered his own opinion. He continued to analyze. The other trainees began to ponder Li Feng's words. One trainee speculated, and another trainee offered his own insight. Within the conference room of the Martian base, an atmosphere of tension and gravity permeated the air. The colonel entered the room with quiet footsteps, taking his seat. His gaze fell upon the major general who was presiding over the meeting, and he gave a soft cough to draw attention. A lieutenant colonel spoke, his tone carrying a hint of reproach. Another lieutenant colonel then elaborated on the complex circumstances behind the situation. Hearing this, the first lieutenant colonel erupted in anger. The atmosphere in the conference room grew even more tense. The major general rapped the table, attempting to quell the rising tempers. He continued, then turned his gaze to the lieutenant colonel, shaking his head in resignation before reiterating his stance. His words made the assembled officers realize that the situation on Mars was far more complicated than they had anticipated. The ground combat forces on the Martian base were limited in number, and to protect the base, they could not dispatch more troops to counter the threat of the starbugs. He continued speaking. The major general pondered the lieutenant colonel's suggestion for a moment before responding. He then elaborated further. In the conference room of the Martian base, several lieutenant colonels and majors exchanged glances, conveying their unspoken understanding through their eyes. Though they may have harbored reservations deep within, faced with the major general's unwavering resolve and clear orders, they understood that they must obey and carry out the mission. One of the lieutenant colonels nodded in agreement and put forward his own plan. Another lieutenant colonel added further remarks. The major general acknowledged the responses of these officers, knowing that their experience and judgment were crucial to the success of the mission. Beneath the ancient and parched surface of Mars lay a hidden, vibrant underworld. The naturally formed tunnels were intricate and complex, like veins of the red planet coursing through its crimson soil. These tunnels were filled with a strange liquid that flowed slowly through the Martian underground network, bringing a glimmer of vitality to the depths of this desolate world. Within this liquid, violet-green fungal mats spread at an astonishing rate, coating the tunnel walls like a thick living carpet that emitted a faint, ethereal glow. Star worms, grotesque creatures with ferocious visages, wriggled through the tunnels, their mouths filled with collected ores. To them, these minerals were not just sustenance, but the very essence of their survival and reproduction. The star worms transported these ores into bizarre living structures. These structures were grotesque in form, their appearance reminiscent of enormous maws from the abyss, constantly opening and closing as if breathing. The star worms transported these ores into bizarre living structures. These structures were grotesque in form, their appearance. The surfaces of the living structures were covered with pulsating veins. As they swallowed the ores, they expanded and contracted rhythmically, as if undergoing a digestive process. After the star worms cast the ores into these living structures, a low rumbling roar emanated from within, accompanied by a strange, otherworldly glow. The light seeped through the building's outer layers, illuminating the surrounding tunnels and casting an air of mystery over the subterranean realm. Across the vast, desolate plains of Mars, an armored vehicle tore through the red dust, racing forward at breakneck speed. A turret mounted atop the vehicle housed a rotating autocannon, its barrel glinting coldly in the sunlight. The turret slowly swiveled, scanning the surround. A turret mounted atop the vehicle housed a rotating autocannon, its barrel glinting coldly in the sunlight. The turret slowly swiveled, scanning the surroundings, providing all-around vigilance. Inside the vehicle, 3 crew members were intently executing their duties. Jiang Yu held an electronic map, his gaze sweeping across it repeatedly to confirm the route and destination. He turned to his companions, his voice calm, yet confident. The Mars base has issued our mission. We are to proceed to Outpost 804 and reactivate its equipment. Once that's done, we can await personnel rotation. Normally, rotations occur every month. Have you packed everything? Another crew member, Zhang Hao, patted his equipment bag beside him and replied, Of course, all essentials are here. Food, water, medical kits, communication devices, and extra power supplies. Everything is accounted for. Li Feng meanwhile checked the onboard systems to ensure everything ran smoothly. Vehicle status is optimal. All systems have been verified. The turret's ammunition has been replenished as well. We're ready to handle any situation that may arise. Jiang Yu nodded, satisfied with their preparations. Good. Then let's proceed at full speed. Outpost 804 is a crucial forward station for us. Reactivating its equipment is vital for monitoring activities on Mars. Zhang Hao, seated in the passenger seat, gazed through the armored vehicle's observation window at the barren Martian. His eyes fell on the temperature gauge inside the vehicle, prompting a sigh. Mars is truly scorching. Look at the temperature indicator. It's nearly off the charts. Without our protective suits, and the armored vehicle would have been reduced to ash by now. Jiang Yu chuckled in response. No doubt about it. The human body simply can't withstand the extreme heat of even the army equipment deployed to various planets requires the Federal Navy to scout the environment first, then customize production for the ground forces. Otherwise, the diverse conditions across planets would wreak havoc on us. Li Feng, in the driver's seat, pushed aside the turret's periscope and joined the conversation. The engineering corps are truly remarkable. Despite such harsh conditions, they still managed to build rudimentary roads to all the outposts. Without these roads, would be in a tough spot. His words carried a note of admiration for the engineers whose work ensured the armored vehicle could travel relatively safely and quickly across the Martian surface. Zhang Hao nodded in agreement. Indeed, these roads are lifelines for us. In this unforgiving environment, every step is fraught with danger, but with these paths our operations become much smoother. Jiang Yu added, moreover, these roads facilitate our supplies and evacuations. In a place like Mars, every advantage can save lives at a critical moment. The three of them sat inside the armored vehicle as it sped across the desolate Martian terrain, chatting casually, while maintaining alertness to their surroundings. Zhang Hao adjusted his helmet to make the communication device more comfortable, joking. Do you think there are other life forms on Mars besides us and the star worms? It's eerily quiet here. Jiang Yu laughed in response. If there were, they'd have to be incredibly resilient. But I'm more curious about how the star worms survive in this environment. They seem perfectly adapted to Mars' extreme conditions. Li Feng gripped the steering wheel, focusing on the road ahead, while listening to the conversation. The star worms are indeed strange. Veterans say they can not only survive the heat, but also utilize Martian ores. Perhaps they possess survival techniques we don't know about. The vehicle's AI system suddenly emitted a beep, interrupting their chat. We are approaching the target location, Outpost 804. Please prepare. The three immediately ceased their conversation and began checking their gear and task-required tools. Jiang Yu reviewed the electronic map again, confirming their exact position and the outpost's layout. Zhang Hao inspected the weapon systems on the armored vehicle, ensuring a rapid response in case of star worm encounters. Turret check complete. Ammunition sufficient. Ready for any contingencies. Li Feng slowed the vehicle, guiding it smoothly toward the outpost. Everyone, we're here. Stay alert. Execute the plan. The armored vehicle slowly came within sight of Outpost 804. Its silhouette gradually sharpened against the Martian horizon, a sturdy solitary structure standing amidst the red desert. Around the outpost stretched a vast Martian surface scattered with rocks and dunes of all sizes. Sunlight slanted down from the sky, gilding the barren land in a golden hue. As the armored vehicle gradually drew near Outpost 804, the silhouette of the outpost began to emerge in the trio's field of vision. They had initially assumed Outpost 804 was merely a small forward base, but as the distance closed, they were astonished to discover its scale far exceeded their expectations. The outpost was constructed from robust metallic materials, its surface coated with a special layer designed to withstand the harsh Martian environment. Under the sunlight, the metallic structure reflected a dazzling radiance, standing like a fortress amidst the red desert. Jiang Yu also felt a surge of surprise. Li Feng drove the armored vehicle slowly along the path leading to the outpost. As they approached, the main structure of the outpost came into view. Excluding the expansive courtyard, the towering watchtower alone rose over 30 meters high. The watchtower was equipped with various sensors and communication devices now dormant, but one could still imagine the bustling activity they once supported. The outpost was encircled by a high wall featuring observation posts and defensive turrets for the sentries. These defensive measures underscored the Federation's emphasis on the outpost's security. Even on this barren Martian surface, no slack was permitted. The armored vehicle eventually came to a halt before the outpost's main gate. The trio inspected their equipment, ready to commence their mission. They knew that despite the outpost's imposing appearance, they must not forget the lurking dangers on Mars, especially the threat of the star worms. Jiang Yu took a deep breath and opened the door of the armored vehicle. Inside, the three of them made final preparations, carefully checking their protective suits to ensure proper sealing and that their life support systems were functioning normally. The protective suits were vital for their activities on the Martian surface, shielding them from extreme temperatures and toxic dust in the harsh environment. The three exchanged glances, nodded to one another, and slowly opened the armored vehicle's door. With the press of a button, the vehicle's heavy door swung open, allowing a rush of searing heat to surge inside, instantly triggering the temperature control system's alarm. The trio quickly grabbed their weapons and jumped out of the armored vehicle, their footsteps leaving deep impressions in the Martian sand. They slowly approached the main gate of Outpost 804, preparing to enter. Zhang Hao stepped up to the gate, pulled out an ID card, and inserted it directly into the terminal slot. The ID card was the key to entering the outpost, storing their identity information and access privileges. The terminal, which had been dark, flickered briefly before emitting a blue glow indicating successful identity verification. With the identity confirmed, the outpost security system responded. The previously motionless auto turrets began to rotate slowly. The defense system, having detected authorized personnel, was preparing to enter normal operation mode. Li Feng watched the gate's opening process. As the gate of Outpost 804 slowly swung open, Zhang Hao and Li Feng gripped their weapons tightly and stepped cautiously inside. Li Feng watched the gate's opening process. As the gate of Outpost 804 slowly swung open, Zhang Hao and Li Feng gripped their weapons tightly and stepped cautiously inside. The puddle emitted an unusual sheen, starkly contrasting with the arid Martian environment. The three exchanged glances, their eyes filled with both caution and confusion. Zhang Hao acted swiftly, using the computer system on his protective suit to connect to Outpost 804's internal network. His fingers moved rapidly across the touchscreen, attempting to retrieve more information about the mysterious liquid. Meanwhile, the armored vehicle parked outside under the control of its AI system slowly drove into the outpost. The turret on the vehicle rotated continuously, scanning every corner of the interior to provide additional security for the team. Zhang Hao successfully took control of the auto turrets positioned at the four corners of the outpost. Originally designed for the outpost's defense, these turrets could now be exploited by any unauthorized intruder if left unchecked. Jiang Yu and Li Feng advanced further, their electromagnetic rifles aimed forward, prepared to confront any starworms or other unknown threats that might appear. Zhang, how can you connect to the outpost's internal surveillance system now? Also check whether the power system and security system are still functioning normally. See if you can activate the security system and get the drone robots inside, moving to assist our operation. Jiang Yu suddenly recalled that according to Federation regulations, an outpost of this size should be equipped with security robots. If those robots could be deployed, they would provide an extra layer of safety. Upon hearing Zhang Ye's instructions, Zhang Hao immediately began operating the computer system on his protective suit, attempting to access the outpost's internal surveillance network. His fingers danced rapidly across the touchscreen, focusing intently on cracking the outpost's security. After considerable effort, Zhang Hao successfully accessed the outpost's surveillance system. The screen displayed multiple feeds from the station's interior. Though some cameras were damaged, most still provided usable visual information. Zhang Hao continued his operations, the data streams reflecting in his eyes. Soon the outpost's security system began to respond. The previously dormant drone robots slowly activated their sensors, scanning the surroundings as they prepared to execute their preset patrol routines. Jiang Yu nodded, acknowledging Zhang Hao's work. Li Feng gripped his electromagnetic rifle, scanning the environment. As the outpost's main door slowly opened, Zhang Yu, Zhang Hao, and Li Feng, each holding an electromagnetic rifle, cautiously stepped inside. The air inside the outpost felt stagnant, dim lights casting long shadows across the metal corridor. As their footsteps echoed through the hallway, a mechanical grinding sound arose, and the heavy door closed slowly behind them, sealing off the Martian dust outside. Jiang Yu glanced at the sealed door and immediately asked Zhang Hao, is the life support system still functioning? He knew that if the system was operational, they might be able to move freely inside the outpost after removing their suits. Li Feng, holding his electromagnetic rifle, warily surveyed the bright corridor, his voice tinged with fatigue. What's the matter? You want to take off this heavy suit? If possible, take it off right now. This thing is unbearable. Although his suit provided essential life support, it remained bulky and stifling in Mars' microgravity environment. Zhang Hao quickly operated the computer system on his suit, checking the station's life support status. I'm checking now. The system appears to be running in automatic mode and life support indicators are normal. But we still need to be cautious. I suggest we first conduct local air quality tests to ensure safety before considering removing our suits. Jiang Yu agreed. Good idea. We can't afford unnecessary risks. The outpost may have been neglected for some time. We don't know if there are toxic gases or other hazards inside. The three continued along the corridor, their eyes scanning every corner and shadow for any anomaly. The interior facilities appeared somewhat aged, but remained sturdy. Display screens on the walls flickered occasionally, showing outdated information and data. After completing his inspection of the life support system, Zhang Hao reported, the local air quality test passed, so the air here should be safe. However, I recommend we keep our suits on until we fully confirm the station's security. Li Feng sighed but still showed understanding. Alright, I understand. After all, we don't know if star bugs or something else have infiltrated the station. Keeping our suits on at least guarantees our safety. Inside the corridor, Zhang Hao suddenly halted. Zhang Yu and Li Feng immediately stopped, as well a tense atmosphere spreading instantly. Zhang Yu quickly asked Zhang Hao, "What's wrong? Is something happening? Is there a problem with the security system?" Li Feng's voice carried a hint of tension. Hey, compared to that, take a look at that security robot ahead. Is it trying to kill us?" He pointed forward where a security robot stood, its twin electromagnetic machine guns on its arms gleaming coldly. Zhang Yu immediately turned around, and seeing the robot's posture reacted swiftly. "Zhang Hao, stop it. Stop it. Are you sure the system is fine?" Zhang Hao wasted no time quickly pulling up the security system interface. His hands moved rapidly across the touchscreen on his suit. "I can confirm. The security system is completely normal. Completely normal." Yet despite the system indicating normalcy, the robot's abnormal behavior remained puzzling. Zhang Hao attempted to issue commands through the system to lower the robot's weapons, in trying to reset its action directives. "Everyone stay calm." Zhang Yu and Li Feng gripped their electromagnetic rifles tightly, ready to respond to any situation. Zhang Yu said to Zhang Hao, "Hurry, Zhang Hao. We don't know if it will suddenly open fire." Sweat beaded on Zhang Hao's forehead, but his fingers remained steady on the touchscreen. Finally, the security robot's electromagnetic machine gun slowly lowered, its movements somewhat stiff, but it eventually returned to standby mode. "Alright, it's back to standby." Zhang Hao let out a sigh of relief, his voice transmitted through the communication system. It might have been a false alarm triggering its defense mechanism. Li Feng relaxed a little but remained vigilant. "We need to be careful. The equipment here might be old and worn out. Any small issue could be magnified." Zhang Yu fixed his gaze on the now stationary security robot, his heartbeat quickening. When he noticed the robot's sensors flickering, he sensed something was wrong. He gently wiped the dust from his suit's screen, trying to see more clearly. The tension in the corridor thickened, and the three men's breathing grew heavy. Zhang Ye's words stretched Zhang Hao and Li Feng's nerves to the breaking point. They knew that Mars' harsh environment could harbor unknown dangers at any moment. Zhang Hao responded quickly, his voice trembling slightly. Li Feng tightened his grip on his electromagnetic rifle, his steps firm, but his heart pounding like a drum. As Zhang Hao and Li Feng slowly passed by Zhang Yu, a flicker of resolve flashed in Zhang Ye's eyes. He gave them a look, a tacit understanding forged through countless training sessions. The two instantly grasped his intent and dashed forward with swift, determined strides. Zhang Yu moved swiftly, decisively pressing the control system of the security robot and inputting emergency defense commands. With his operation, the security robot sensors and weapon systems activated immediately, ready to meet the impending threat. Simultaneously, Zhang Yu turned and raised his electromagnetic rifle, assuming a combat-ready stance. When he looked back, a terrifying monster came into view. Its body was larger than a large dog, covered in a reddish-green carapace bristling with sharp spines. These spines glistened with cold light under the dim corridor lights, appearing exceptionally ferocious. The monster's limbs clung tightly to the ceiling, its body hanging in the air under gravity, as if ready to pounce on its prey at any moment. A pair of massive claws grew from the monster's shoulders, shaped like scimitars, their sharp edges gleaming with a dangerous light. Its mouth occasionally dripped green liquid which sizzled upon hitting the metal corridor floor. Zhang Yu took a deep breath. He knew this was a star insect, an unknown creature on Mars renowned for its ferocity and ability to adapt to extreme environments. He quickly adjusted the settings of his electromagnetic rifle, aiming at the star insect's vital areas. The security robot system responded swiftly, its sensors and target locking system assessing the battlefield in an instant. After confirming that the personnel requiring protection had left the firing range, the electromagnetic machine guns on the robot's arms immediately opened fire. However, the star insect seemed to have forgotten Zhang Ye's presence. Zhang Ye's electromagnetic rifle quickly supplemented the firepower, precisely adjusting the angle and rhythm of his shots. Bullet after bullet struck the star insect, knocking it from the ceiling to the ground. Seeing this, the security robot immediately stepped forward, firing its electromagnetic machine gun almost point-blank against the star insect's body. Blue-white tongues of flame flickered in the corridor, accompanied by green blood bursting from the star insect's body, creating a scene that was both spectacular and terrifying. Under the coordination of Zhang Yu and the security robot, the star insect's body was riddled with holes, green blood splattering everywhere on the walls and floor, emitting a pungent odor. The star insect's struggles gradually weakened, and it finally lay motionless on the ground. Zhang Yu watched warily, gasping for breath, trying to calm his tense nerves. He asked through the communication system, "How's your situation?" "I've dealt with one here." Zhang Hao and Li Feng quickly responded, informing him that they were continuing forward to find the outpost's control center. Zhang Yu turned to the security robot, and issued a new command. Security robot, check the target's vital signs and confirm whether it is completely eliminated. Upon receiving the command, the security robot carefully scanned the fallen star insect with its sensors. A few seconds later, the robot reported, target vital signs have disappeared. Threat neutralized. Jiang Yu relaxed a bit. He looked at the star insect, now battered beyond recognition, and a complex emotion surged in his heart. This was the first time he had faced such a ferocious creature in actual combat. He knew this was just the beginning. There might be more unknowns and dangers on Mars waiting for them. He took a deep breath, adjusted his equipment, and then continued along the corridor to catch up with Zhang Hao and Li Feng. Li Feng's anxiety was evident in his words. He stood at the entrance of the command center, anxiously waiting for Zhang Hao to complete the identity verification and authorization process. The tense atmosphere around him made him uneasy, worrying that star insects might have infiltrated more areas of the outpost. Zhang Hao was focused on his work, verifying the procedures to ensure they could enter the command center smoothly. He knew time was pressing, but he couldn't neglect security checks. Li Feng frowned. He knew Zhang Hao was right, but he still felt uneasy. Zhang Hao quickened his movements, his fingers flying over the touch screen. Finally, with the last verification passed, the command center's doors slowly opened. After Zhang Hao and Li Feng entered the control center, they were greeted by a room full of high-tech equipment and systems. Zhang Hao moved quickly, starting to wake up the entire control center system. As he operated, the screens on the console lit up one by one, displaying various data and images. Zhang Hao pointed to a nearby computer and said to Li Feng, I need you to help me check the computer system's self-test program. I need to figure out if there are any problems within the system of Outpost 804. Li Feng immediately walked to the designated computer and began the system self-test. His fingers tapped quickly on the keyboard, retrieving system logs and status reports. Okay, Zhang Hao, I'm checking. If there's a problem inside the system, I'll find and fix it immediately. Meanwhile, Jiang Yu was moving quickly down the corridor. He saw two security robots, fully armed, rushing toward the power room. His heart tightened, realizing that a serious situation might have occurred. Jiang Yu immediately stopped, thinking to himself, oh no, have those monsters gotten into the power room? This is a super bad news, damn it. The power room is the energy core of the outpost. If invaded by star insects, the consequences would be He quickly checked his electromagnetic rifle to ensure it was in optimal condition, then followed the security robots all the way to the power room. Jiang Yu knew he had to reach the power room as soon as possible to prevent the star insects from damaging the power system and ensure the outpost's energy supply was not affected.